The Houston Texans were 31st in your rankings just 2 weeks ago. It feels like last week we were talking about the Texans shooting up your rankings, and that's because we were. They went up 12 spots to 19th, and this week they jumped another 7 spots to 12th overall. How are you so wrong about the Texans? And would you like to apologize?
Everybody, all of us, every single one of us.
Not me.
3 people on this podcast actually all said that the Texans were a good bet to win the AFC South.
You picked the Jaguars. What are you talking about? I know
they're
you
a good
picked
bet. I said they're a good bet. I talked to the Texans all offseason. I just didn't really like CJ Stroud.
I said the Texans would be feisty, tough, and win 6 games, 7 games. And that's exactly what they are. They might be better than that. I think DeMeco Ryans is a hell of a coach.
Yep.
And I guess you can pop on the tape and watch his team. They play hard, tough, physical, nasty. They run to the football. And the fact that they played with 4 offensive linemen down, in fact 5, because the backup left tackle didn't play either, and they held up is amazing. But you know, the quarterback is real. At least it looks like it. And when he's good, everybody else, again, it elevates everybody else's play. Nico Collins wasn't good last year. He's good now.
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell gives you the speed. Defensively, they have good players, and a lot of those guys have been hurt, you know, in the back end. Petrie came back last week, but they've had injuries back there as well. So it's a good, tough, physical team with good, you know, not great players, but good players. And they play hard.
Reminds me a little bit of I don't want to give it like the full Patriots, 2001 thing, but like Belichick, when he rebooted the Pats on defense by going out and getting like veteran guys that he believed could make an impact and like raise the floor of that defense. And they sort of did the same thing, it felt like, in Houston.
Yeah, and Will Anderson's been good. He's just not an elite pass rusher. He's been you put on the tape, man, he plays a run well. He's tough. He knocks guys back. I just don't think he's ever going to be a Nick Bosa, Von Miller.
No, he's not. That's fine.
Parsons.
Well, that's an elite pass rusher.
He's not going to be an elite pass rusher. He's going to be a good pass rusher.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's going to be better than good. He'll be between good and elite. The other thing worth noting, by the way, I think DeMeco Ryans was the exact right call. We talked about this on the podcast about how typically offensive-minded coaches are where you want to go, unless you have a leader. And DeMeco Ryans feels like that. But credit to him for also going out and getting Bobby Slowick.
Bringing him with him more than going out and getting him.
I was going to say he was with him in San Francisco, and I watched all of CJ's throws because we had to talk about it on the podcast against the Steelers. That was a fun watch. But Slowick has answers for the quarterback. The quarterback has answers if the play is out of structure. He's throwing on time. He's throwing accurately, and he makes it look easy where you go around the league to New York, to the Giants, to the Steelers, to the Bears. It looks like those offenses have no answers to anything, and those guys just started playing football 2 weeks ago. So I think there's a lot of credit to go around, and it's fun to watch that team.
Yeah, Slowick deserves a lot of credit. Again, it's the tree. It's the Shanahan tree. It just drops them off. I mean, everywhere you get I'm talking about the Mike Shanahan tree. To Kyle, McVay, LaFleur. There's only one guy that doesn't really work. If you count, is Staley kind of part of the tree or not?
He's on the other side of the ball, though.
I think he's Vic Fangio tree.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about the Texans, real quick, is just it reminds me of 2012 Colts with Andrew Luck his rookie year, where you just had such a bad team the year before. Yeah. No one thought the quarterback, Luck was obviously a generational prospect, and people thought he would make the Colts a little better, but even most people didn't expect they would get the playoffs in his rookie year. And now it looks like, Stroud might get this team to the playoffs.
Do they beat the Falcons this week? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes, by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that's not even a stretch.
2 touchdowns is a lot.
Have you seen the Falcons?
I know.
Falcons have played good. Falcons are Desmond Ritter's 4-0 at home.
The Falcons haven't even scored 2 touchdowns in their last 2 games combined.
Yeah,
Brinson gave that doesn't matter face.
It's still the NFL. It's still the NFL. You get full of yourself a little bit. You start reading your press clippings. You go on the road against a team that got beat up in London, and they're now there at home. And
you got like Wilson and Breach talking about how the Texans are going to win by 14 points, 14 plus points. Like this reeks of a Falcons win.
Yeah, it's at play in that game. The NFL formula is perfectly at play. Now, in fact, I don't even know what the line is. What is it?
Minus 14.5 wins over Wilson.
It is something I'll tell you just real quick.
As the CBS Sports picks leader, I think 14 points feels like a good prediction.
The Falcons are minus 2.5. I wonder what you guys would be. This is the best bet for me. Falcons minus 2.5.
Yeah, I like the Falcons that thing too. But hey, you're leading the picks, Breach. That tells you how poorly we're all doing, because we've been stinking it.
Yeah, Breach is typically pretty terrible.
Look at the records from last week for everybody. By the way, just take a look at them.
You were 6-9-1, 7-8-1 for me. Dubin and Breach went 9-6-1. Wilson went 8-7-1. So in first place right now, Breach is 33, 29, and 2. No, you're not leading. Dubin's leading. You're leading.
Out of us four, I'm leading.
That's not the CBS Sports Picks leader, you clown. You're 3 games back of the lead.
I'll give it to you, Breach.
Nah,
You need a
Wilson.
victory this
Okay,
season.
fine. I'm in second place out of everyone, but out of everyone in this podcast.
Jamie go 4 and something.
Dave went 4, 11, and 1. Jamie went 5, 10, and 1.
Yeah, it was a bad week across the board.
Yeah, except unless you're a donkey like Breach.
Yeah, Breach, you're a donkey.
So Dubin's got 36. Breach has 33. Sully has 32. Wilson has 30. Pete has 29. I have 28. So it's all pretty tight there.
We all stink.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna have a big week and like make a surge, and then Breach is gonna be like, "Well, why don't we look at straight up picks?" That's where I've
had 2 bad weeks in a row.
Breach always talks about how straight up is what matters, not anything else.
I'm winning that one. I know that.
Nobody cares about.
Not one person on God's green earth cares about straight
Breach's
up.
daughter cares.
Smart people make their money.
He's doing her football pool. He likes them.
You know, Breach will bet like minus 300 money lines for like $10.
And
Is he winning straight up? Or is he bragging about that too?
Yeah,
they hit all. I am.
It's pathetic.
Again, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. He's been bragging about it for like 10 years. He's like, I went straight up every year. It's like literally, you're the only person who clicks on that page.
Win straight up every year because Dave Richard usually wins straight up every year because he says the same damn thing. And I go, Dave, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares about straight up.
Leave Dave alone.